Good night, everybody. It's 7 o'clock sharp. It's 8 p.m. on the East Coast. How is everyone? I'm so excited to be here. I see some familiar faces on the cameras, and I see some faces I haven't met before. So I'm fixing to introduce myself, but really quickly, I want to know who on here is already drinking ketones. And guys, if you're drinking ketones today, I want to know the flavor you had in the chat. So tell us what you've had today. I personally have had hibiscus lemonade. Oh my goodness, it was so tasty. And I had, what I have this morning? This morning I had Splash. It's one of my all-time favorites. All right, birthday cake protons. Yes, I see that, Cheryl. Okay, I don't want to take a lot of your time. I want to make sure that if you don't see your friend here, you text them a quick reminder. Text them a quick reminder if you don't see any faces or names that you know need to be here. I'm super excited about this call. I see Dustin's on here. I'm going to be passing it to him in just a second. Okay, guys, my name is Amy. I am from Jackson, Tennessee. Uh, in between the two music cities, Memphis and Nashville, where you can hear jazz and country and rock and all the good music. I have been married to my high school sweetheart since I was basically 15 years old when we met. And we have two adult children. I have been drinking and sharing ketones for over 6 years now. Can't believe it. Someone was brave enough to say, hey, girl, you need to try this. And of course, like most people, I'm like, maybe, maybe not. And then I did. And guys, my whole world changed. Everything changed in my health. Everything changed inside me as a person. And I've been sharing ketones for the exact amount of time, about 6 years. If you're on this call, someone invited you here because they wanted you to hear about the opportunity that comes with drinking and sharing ketones and then what we have coming next. If you're already a prover, which means you're drinking ketones and maybe even sharing ketones, you know the power of this drink. And you know a little bit about our history, maybe. We have been around for 10 years, guys, and we have made something absolutely incredible. But what's coming next is beyond insane. I can't wait to turn the call over in just a few minutes to one of our awesome leaders, Dustin, who is going to give us lots of information. He's going to introduce our main speaker. But guys, let me tell you, because I said yes and I plugged in, I personally, as a promoter with Prove It, because of that consistency and plugging in, was able to retire my husband from full-time factory swing shifts. I was able to pay for my daughter's wedding, all cash, no debt. It was amazing. My son's getting married. I'm sending him to Iceland. Tickets already bought. Like, you can absolutely do anything you want to when you set your mind and your heart to something you know is powerful. What we have coming next, I am so excited about, because I know what I've done so far is just a blimp because of what we have coming that no one else in the world has. And I'm so excited for you to learn as much as you can tonight and just get a glimpse of what's coming. So if you were invited to this call, someone cared enough about you, or you expressed some excitement in this person that they were willing to give you this live call, invitation only. And I'm fixing to turn this over to Dustin Schaefer, guys, who has also been drinking and sharing ketones for a long time. He's going to introduce himself. And Dustin, if you're here, take it away.
Hey, how are you, Amy? Thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, I'll super excited to be on, and Dr. Ryan Lowry should be coming on shortly, so I'm gonna get him set up for you guys. But if you're on here right now, there's a few. Hi, everybody. Hope you're well. I've been with Prove It now for 10 years. I was one of the original promoters to help bring Prove It to the market, and it's been an exciting journey. I've learned a lot. So if you're watching this right now, maybe you're brand new. If you're brand new and you're just learning for the first time, maybe you're a guest today or you've been in for a month or two, approve it. You're just put a one in the chat. If you're somebody that's been around for a little while, put a two. And I want to paint a little bit of a picture here. And I just had a call with our president, Nick Martinez, and we were just discussing something that was really important, I think. And I'm going to share that with you all if you'd like. I'll share what we just kind of uncovered, because we're in a unique time, not just in wellness, not just in supplements, not just in ketones, not just in like, this is a global conversation, and I'm excited because you all, if you're listening to this live, the replay, and I hope you get the excitement that we have. But what we're going to try to do is paint the picture for you to understand the significance, the timing, and the excitement behind it all. And so I'll be interviewing Dr. Ryan in a second. But before I do that, myself, when I started with Prove It, I was one of those crazy people that was into health and wellness. I did a ketogenic diet. But that's not why I joined Prove It. I joined Prove It because I was financially stressed. I needed to take pressure off my family. And so I was looking for a way to make more income. And I didn't have a big business skill. I didn't know how to market. I didn't know sales. I didn't know how to develop products. I didn't know how to build websites. Well, I did, but really poorly. Not like anybody was going to buy from it. And so I needed to find a platform, a company that could say, hey, listen, I'm going to give you the tools like a business in a box. You're going to follow the system, and we're going to provide the best products and programs for you to do that. And so that's what I did. Is I just said, "Hey, listen, prove it. Tell me what to do, and I'm going to go do it." And it happened to be that we stumbled on the biggest breakthrough in what I believe in supplement history. We happened to bring to the world a product that can truly transcend and change people's lives forever. And now we're in this really cool pinnacle time where we're going to be bringing the future of wellness and personalized wellness to the world. And so you guys buckle up. If you're not excited a little bit or you're sitting at the edge of your chair, you should be, because this conversation is so new, but so groundbreaking and so huge. The fact that you're sitting here at the front of it all, and the fact that you get to be the first to hear about all this, it's really should be exciting to you, because I'm just going to ask you this Dr. Ryan Lowry just joined us. So before you get on, I want you to think about this just for a second, because if you're like me when I first started, excuse me, is you're looking to take some financial pressure off your family. You're looking to maybe have another way to make some additional income to do something special, just like Amy had shared. It makes me so happy that you got to do that for your family and for yourself. And if you love to help people, I want you to think about this. How many people do you know in your life? I want you to think about how many people do you know that need to lose weight? I want you to just in the chat, I want you to write down who everybody you know that needs to lose weight. I'm kidding. Don't do that. That's not nice. But think about it. How many people need to really lose some weight? Right? I just played pickball today with a guy, and he's like, "Man, I just got to get this weight off my belly." And I'm not going to tell you the whole story because it'd be a 2 hour conversation, but he needs our product. How many people do you know right now that are struggling with energy? They just need to get more energy through their day. How many people do you know right now that are just need to be healthier? How many people do you know right now in your entire life that want to age better, that want to be in their 70s and 80s and want to live their best life? They want to spend time with their kids and their grandkids. They want to have a great relationship for the people you know. Think about that. And what if we had the answer in the toolbox to give them that opportunity? All they have to do is say yes, plug in, utilize our products and programs, and their life forever can change. So if you're looking at an opportunity to make a big impact in your life financially, you got to have, I heard this before, the more money, if you want to make a lot of money, you got to help a lot of people. Well, right now, a lot of people need help, and we have tools that can help them. And so I'm going to interview Dr. Ryan here. He's on. Dr. Ryan, please come on. I'm going to just give him some bragging words. This guy is an amazing individual. He's been published hundreds of times. He's not only got a doctor behind his name. That's just cool. In my mind, that's just cool. And but he's also the president and part owner of ASPI out in Tampa, Florida. He's a formulator. He's a global presenter. I was just with him actually a few days ago in LA, and he's literally talking with, these doctors are like, they're just so smart. They know so much information, but it's not just about knowing what they know. It's like, how can they share that with people with passion and compassion, knowing where people are at? And I think that's what makes Dr. Ryan so special, is that he doesn't just share it because he's smart. He doesn't just share it because he knows it. He shares it because he cares. It's not just about him for himself and to help others. It's for him, for his family and people that he cares about. So that to me is what makes him so amazing to have on this call, because he's going to be able to share some wisdom. But when it comes to around ketones and the future of personalized wellness, he is one of the brains behind it all. And so he's nobody perfect to ask these questions to. So Dr. Lowry, if you could come on, I truly appreciate it. We're going to have some fun here.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
there he is.
It's good to see you again.
Good. How are you, sir?
Great,
I
great.
mean, we just did this a few days ago in our live audience out there in LA. Now we're back home. You're back in Florida. I'm back in Northern California.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
So we're going to do this differently. I didn't prep, just so y'all know, I did not prep Dr. Lowry today about what we're going to talk about. And Nick Martinez and I were talking, the president of Prove It, that what a unique time we have. And so what we want to do is we're going to take a few minutes. There's a lot of guests on here. There may be somebody watching this replay is um, without ketones in the movement of ketones in bringing to the world, we wouldn't be where we are today to make the next step. And with that is we have a unique opportunity to take the number one health supplement, I believe, in the world to the masses for everybody to get to experience this amazing product. And then also to have the opportunity to be part of the first in line for protocol. And so I want to take just a second and kind of start with the top down. We're going to start with the brain, go to the heart, maybe the metabolism and muscle of the power of ketones. So that's a bold statement for me to say that it's the number one health supplement I've ever seen in my career. I don't know if you believe that or not, but can you just kind of give people, if they're a guest on here and they're like, why would ketones be such a big, impactful supplement to help change so many lives? What would you say if I asked you that question?
Yeah, it's a really great question. It's funny because Brian and I were having a conversation about this the other day, and I just had to dig up the quote that I sent him because it reminds me like ten years ago, right, when we kind of first launched ketones to the market, why we launched ketones to the market then, right? 10 years ago, if you really look at what was happening, it was like really the beginning of this, call it this gold rush towards metabolic health, right? People just wanted to get healthier, right? And I have this quote and it says, when everybody's digging for gold, it's great to be in the pick and shovel business. Which means like we have the tool, right? Like we had the tool at our disposal. No one else had the pick and shovel of really what undermines what the gold mine was, which was ultimately metabolic health and improving their like healthy aging and this concept of longevity. So that we really started that, pioneered that 10 years ago. And when it comes to what ketones do, there's nothing that exists like ketones that are so versatile, right? Like there's data, there's just recent data that came out of Japan actually on sleep. Where like they looked at actually a lower dose than we actually utilize in our product. But I know Dustin, you use this a lot for sleep, but like they saw huge improvements in quality of sleep, and you're like, how is that possible? I take it and I get a ton of energy, which is really amazing on how ketones work at different times of day and how they have different effects. So I can go on and on about the various different benefits of ketones, but that's really like from a holistic side where ketones started and where I think how it's amazing how far they've come today.
Well, I think that's pretty awesome. It's interesting, and I don't know if everybody quite understands metabolic health. But without metabolic health, you don't have health, right? Like you're not like so. I was mentioning earlier, people. How many people does the audience know that need to lose weight, that need to have more energy, that need to have better, maybe focus, that want to sleep better?
Yeah.
And without this idea of metabolic health, it's like all the other things they're taking might momentarily help them, but they don't sustain. And that's what makes, to me, ketones so special. So let's just take a moment for somebody that's on here and going, okay, all right, so 10 years ago, you guys brought ketones to the world. So everybody must know about ketones. But the reality is less than 2% of just America alone even understand the word. Like they don't know what they are, but they maybe have heard the word. So it's really new in this conversation of health. And so our goal and mission is to get this louder, to get more people in the state of ketosis. But let's just take a second and say, okay, what are like three big benefits that ketones do for the brain?
Yeah. And to your point, real quick on that, Dustin, like if you look at some of the popular things that are like right now, I don't know if you guys have seen like protein is making a huge comeback. You know how long protein's been around and like all of a sudden now it's the new crazy thing. Everyone's like, I need to get in more protein. And I'm like, this has been around for 70 years, right? Protein's been around. But like ketones, it's still so new. Like it's such a novel concept for people to wrap their heads around. To Dustin's point, like it might seem like, oh, everyone I like there's a lot of people that I talk to today still speaking all around the world, and I'm like, yeah, have you ever heard of exogenous ketones? And they're like, I have no idea what you just even said. Like so it's really really an incredible time. And if you look at what ketones do for the brain, right? Think about as we get older, our brain cannot utilize glucose as well, right? When you have a 9, 10, 11-year old, right? They can eat sugar and candy. It's not, I'm not saying that's good for them, but they're all of a sudden they're running around and they're using that. I eat that same thing today, and it's going to probably give me 20 seconds of energy, and then I'm going to be planted on the couch for the next 2 hours, right? Now, why is that? Why is that happening? Well, a lot of that underlying that's metabolic health, but a lot of that is because as we get older, our brain can't respond or utilize glucose as well. So we kind of get this, they're kind of terming it like type 3 diabetes or like insulin resistance of the brain. And age is the number one contributing factor to it. So as we get older, our brain becomes more and more resistant to utilizing glucose. However, it does not become more and more resistant to utilizing ketones. So ketones can still, whether you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, hopefully, still get taken up and utilized in the brain, whereas glucose doesn't get utilized as well. So it's kind of like turning the light switch on when otherwise it would be off, right? So providing a fuel source for the brain kind of turns on that energy source.
All right, so let me ask this question. I've never asked you this before, so this will be a first one. We'll see how it goes. Is without exogenous ketones or without drinking Privet's products, is there any other supplement out there that can do that for somebody that can provide that extra energy source to the brain?
Well, I think it's important to classify energy because a lot of times people think energy, they think caffeine, right?
Hmm.
And so, like, if you look at caffeine, there's a ton of beneficial data for caffeine, but caffeine works what until it doesn't, right? So the way caffeine works is that's why some people can drink caffeine and go to bed 2 minutes later. Like, that's not how caffeine is meant to work. But over time, the way caffeine works is that these receptors inside of your brain become saturated where they no longer respond to the stimulus, right? It is a stimulant. Ketones are not a stimulant, right? There are no receptors that get burnt out like they do when you get caffeine. So it's a very different molecule. So I think that's important to clarify when people talk about energy. But we're talking about a clean fuel source that gives like your cellular energy. Whereas like caffeine is a stimulant that's like I'm just trying to get a quick stimulant, whereas this is like clean fuel cellular energy. So that's a good differentiation.
Well, that's awesome. So then give me a benefit. I know I saw some research on the heart works better. Can you tell everybody if they're brand new, how does the heart work better when ketones are in your blood, or is it not as good?
Yeah, it's a great question. That's actually where ketones originated back in the 1990s. So they actually took animals and they infused their hearts with ketones and saw that it actually ran more efficiently. And since then, they've started doing more like clinical research where like people who have some degree of heart deficiency, so to speak, they're able to make the heart work more efficient. So, one of the first places that ketones go beyond the brain is the heart. So we look at like how much ATP is generated inside of the heart, and when you're fueled on ketones, it's exponentially more than without ketones.
Wow. Okay. So one more is muscle. How does the ketones affect the muscle system?
I mean, and this is a very important conversation. I saw something recently. I won't name the companies. They're in the pharma space, but they're making billion-dollar bets on muscle, right? Because if you look at what's happened over the last several years, a lot of therapeutics have come out that people are taking. You've seen them all over the news, and celebrities taking them, and they'll take them and they lose a lot of weight, right? Now, one of the challenges is with that weight typically about 50% of that is muscle. So now these pharmaceutical companies are going back to the table and going, wait a minute, we made people lose a ton of weight, but people are freaking out because they're losing a lot of muscle. So they're making billion-dollar bets on how do we preserve muscle, right? So that's a great question. And so it's like, well, what if you could do it in maybe like an alternative, like natural way? Resistance training is very, very important no matter what. But number two, it's like, how do ketones maybe aid in that process? If you look at the muscle, there's something called muscle protein synthesis, which is how you build muscle, and there's muscle protein breakdown, what prevents muscle from being broken down. We've done research in our lab where ketones actually work on both areas. So we've seen ketones directly increase muscle protein synthesis while also kind of acting like this bodyguard and preventing muscle from being broken down. So theoretically, if you're in like a catabolic state or like a caloric deficit, it would be a great tool to kind of preserve and hold on to that muscle. Or if you're in like a building phase, to help accelerate muscle growth.
All right, so we're gonna do a little rapid fire here. Okay, so ketones are good for the brain.
Yeah. Yep.
Ketones
Yes.
are great for the heart.
For sure.
Ketones are great for the muscle system.
Yep.
And so tonight's call is really about kind of like the future. We're giving people the opportunity to join us as really promoters to help share a message. And we're going to transition here into protocol in a second. But I wanted to set that stage because when you have a supplement and a product, a tool that basically is going to help people live their best life, get healthier, improve the quality of life in their brain, heart, and muscle, well, you have the platform to give people better health. And with better health means better results. If you want an athlete, if you want to lose weight, you want to live your best life, you got to have that foundation set. And so that's what we've done up to this 10 years, but we're ready to ramp that up and take it bigger in a bigger, faster way. So I want everybody to stay tuned because we're going to make a transition because without this foundation, we have a new era happening. We have a new transition happening. What we realize is that ketones are king. They're the product that's transcending changing people's lives. But we can do more for more people. And there's a platform that's coming that's going to help people do that. And so for everybody that gets started with us, they get to get the front row seat to that platform coming. But let's take a moment and talk about it. I have the shirt on right now. I'm going to share everybody what it is. We're going to take just a few minutes. And it's called Protocol. And Protocol is a new platform. It's a new personalized health platform for people to transcend and change their life. Now, we're in the middle of building this thing. Dr. Ryan Lowery has been working on it for many, many, many years. And it's one of the most it is the most scientific, relevant platform for every individual person to get the most optimal out of their body and their health. And so, Dr. Ryan, a lot of people out there have been hearing a little bit, maybe been on the call on Monday night. And so let's break down. So we have this platform. It's a lack of better words. It's a tool on their phone that they're going to be able to utilize to help improve their health. What are they? Maybe just give a couple details of what they're getting on that. Like, what could they expect when they're on that platform? That how they could use it for themselves. If my mom's on there, what could she do on there, and how is it going to help my mom versus Amy?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the way we position it and the way kind of we're looking at it is we really want to become the world's premier health and wellness platform, community, and service, right? So that's really what our goal is. So how do we do that? So if we look at where we don't want to just be where the market's at. We want to look at where is the market going, right? And I saw this stat earlier today. I'll read it to you. I sent it. It says it just came out yesterday. 60% of global consumers say healthy aging is a top priority. Younger generations are trading anti-aging promises for performance-based approaches to energy, cognition, and recovery that improve health span, right? So like the healthy aging conversation is here and like very hot for like the younger generation future. You're seeing this everywhere, right? People there's two different concepts of like lifespan, which is how long you live, and health span, which is how long you're healthy for. There is a big gap. We want to close that gap. So what we've done in this platform is we've said, all right, well, what's it going to take to do that? So how do we collect as much information or data from an individual? And there's like a digital assessment that we've gone through, and like we're looking at things like body composition, lifestyle habits, all these things that matter for your biological age, which is the term you'll be hearing, and all these other factors. We are going to be incorporating in more advanced diagnostics, right? We're looking at everything. We're looking at options for blood, for gut microbiome, for stool, like everything that you can think of in terms of advanced testing, because the more information we have from an individual, the better the recommendation we can give. And so we looked at it and said, we have an amazing community. We have an amazing opportunity and platform. What would it be? It's like the equivalent of like if you were sitting across from me or Dr. Jacob or even Dustin, like, and you were sitting across and you wanted a personalized program, a personalized protocol, what information would we need? And then what would the output be That's the equivalent that we're building inside of this platform to carry it for the masses, right? So it's the equivalent of like if you're sitting across me and you were to go, what should my protocol be? We should be able to spit that back out at a massive scale in order to do that.
This is really cool. I want everybody to envision something for a second. Now, if you haven't been to the labs out there in Florida with Dr. Jacob Wilson and Dr. Ryan Lowry, I think you maybe I'm going to try to paint a picture. So the way I look at it is like you have your, if you want to get as healthy as possible, I want you to think about not just yourself, but everybody you know. If you want to get as healthy as possible, you'd probably have to have maybe a doctor and do some blood work, right? You'd probably have to have a trainer or a coach, but then you'd also need somebody that does nutrition. You'd also have somebody that maybe helps, yeah, something to monitor your sleep, maybe something that monitors the activity that you're doing, maybe something that monitors your mood throughout the day. You'd want to know, well, I'd have to assess it, right? You'd have to go through like a strength test, a physical test. You'd have to be continuously monitor that, and then you'd have to go, well, what else are you taking? Are you taking other supplements? Like you'd have to monitor all that. Like just think about all the things that you would need to monitor if you wanted to be as healthy as possible. So the way I see this is like it sounds what you just said to me is like you taking all that information, putting it through a process, and then determining for each individual what really matters the most based off of who they are, where they are, their goals and their lifestyles, and then providing the right information for them to implement. Now, is it going to give somebody like change everything overnight? Is it going to help walk them through the process? Is it going to be something that people can actually do, right? Is this going to be easy for them to implement in their life?
Yeah, 100%. Because the reality is, if it's too complicated, right, and we've done a ton of research of what is out there, right? So I've done everything under the sun. If you gotten hit from an ad on Instagram or Facebook about it, I've done it to purely just test on myself. I have wear all the wearables. I got everything. I'm tracking everything as much as possible because I want to understand. The problem is even me, right? I've done a lot of schooling, and I like to think that I'm a little bit of well educated when it comes to like the health space. A lot of these things, it's like, hey, we test for 150 markers, and so cool. I'm doing my blood, I send it in, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, now what? Right? Like, cool. I've gotten this. Like, I'm out of the range on this. I'm in the range on this, but like, what do I do? And that's where the huge gap is. So we said that's unacceptable, right? What good is data and information if we can't put it into practical application and change behavior with it? So that's kind of where we bridge the gap is go, how do we take this to the masses in a way that will effectively allow them to change their health trajectory?
Wow, this is pretty cool. So I could literally talk for days, and we can get into this. You all know that it's futures. The protocol is a future evolution. It's something that we're in the works, and we're going to be. We actually have a beta test group coming. So if you're somebody right now that goes, "Hey, I kind of want to like." That's pretty fascinating. And I just look at it once again, go back to everybody you know. How many people that need weight loss, energy, focus, need to sleep better, need to want to live their best life? How many people do you currently know right now that are looking for something better in their life? And what if you had the resources, the tools, and the ability to introduce them to something to change their life forever? But we have a beta coming. Maybe Nick Martinez will talk about that here in a few minutes. But Dr. Lowry, right now, what we know is ketones are king. They're the number one health supplement that we've ever seen that's universally can transform and change somebody's life. Protocol, the most personalized platform ever developed for anyone to transform their life, is on the horizon. I just want to say thank you so much because without your due diligence, without your work, without your efforts, without your fight, because it's not easy when you're out there trying to go at these things like this and create something so groundbreaking. It takes a lot and a lot of perseverance to go through that to even get to where we are now. But the future is really bright. Do you want to just share anything that you're excited about? Like, what's Dr. Ryan Lowry excited about in the future of maybe wellness or health?
Well, I think we have the ability to make a change that's never been done before in the history of the world, right? We have the missing piece in all of this, right? I can talk about the latest science and cutting edge blood markers and the way to do it. The number one, without a doubt, the number one way we will effectively transform people's lives, and it's actually the number one thing that's studied at Harvard that has the biggest effect on longevity, is community. right? That's what we have that no one else has. I don't care if it's a company that's a VC that's trying to go raise $100 million and they're going to go do these things. They don't have it. They're all trying to achieve to get what we have. So I'm super excited to go deeper. And to go even deeper as a community and kind of I know we have a lot of exciting things, a lot of exciting events, maybe one you'll hear about here in a little bit, but a lot of opportunities to get together, really understand how we can effectively not only improve our health, but take that ripple effect and go change a lot of people's lives, not just in the US, but effectively all over the world.
Well, thank you so much, y'all. I truly appreciate Dr. Lowry. You are, I can't say enough. I appreciate you so much. And the future looks bright, and we're going to make a big impact in the world, around the world. And it's all starting very, very soon. So thank you so much. I'm going to kick it. I don't know if I kick it back to you, Amy, or not, but I'm just going to end with my little piece here is that, I've been very fortunate to be in this space and get to see the beginning of Prove It, see the launch of ketones to the world, and then the beginning of something new. And if you're really somebody right now that is hopefully sitting at the edge of your seat and you're excited about A, helping a lot of people, but B, changing your financial situation and making some additional income, or maybe doing something super special like Amy has done with her family. This is an exciting time, and we have a layout and a plan for you to take action on to truly change your life and many others. So, Amy, I'm going to kick it back to you. I appreciate you hosting tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yes, it is such an exciting time. And I'm going to turn this right over to Nick Martinez, the president of Prove It, because he's going to tell you exactly how to get started now. Like, you want to feel as amazing as we're telling you we do, and your friends are telling you they do. And you want to have the opportunity to get in the ground level of what we're bringing to the world. So, Nick, I'm going to kick it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Amy and Dustin and Dr. Ryan. It was great to hear just more validation about what we are doing. I've been part of this community now for 10 years, and I am happy to say I wake up every morning with a smile on my face thinking, man, I get to help somebody with ketones today. I get to hear their story. In fact, I literally just came from a chiropractic office where Dr. Brian fell in love with ketones years ago. Now he loves sharing it with all of his patients. And it's funny, the guy that introduced it to him is 78 years old. His name's John. I introduced ketones to John with a friend of mine 10 years ago almost. John started drinking them. He's living his best life at age 78. He'd been seeing Dr. Brian for years, goes in and says, "Hey, you should drink this stuff. I think it'll be good for you." He was skeptical, ends up drinking it, falls in love with it. He's been sharing it in his office ever since. So John and I are just explaining ketones, sampling ketones to the people that are coming in and out of his office during their busy time. And it's funny, Dr. Brian has these pictures on his wall. And John's standing there and I'm looking up. I'm like, "John, that's your picture." And I'm like, "Did you just take that like a couple of years ago? Like, you guys look really good." It was him and his wife next to their bikes. John likes to ride a road bike. And we were talking, and John's like asking Dr. Brian, "How old are these?" Well, there was another picture that had like a baby in it. And he's like, "Well, that baby is now 15 years old. So those pictures are 15." So here's John 78. The picture that was above him was taken when he was 63. And everybody that walked through thought it was a recent picture because of how well he's aged. So I want you to kind of think like, would it be cool to find something and then 10 years later be 78 living better than you did when you were 63? And ironically, he had his road bike. I'm like, "John, are you still riding?" He's like, "Well, I did a 30-mile bike ride this morning." And here I am, 42 years old. I've never done a 30-mile bike ride in my life. So that's just a little bit of the fun of what we do. And if you're watching right now, and I saw a bunch of ones earlier, I saw a bunch of twos earlier of people that are currently drinking ketones, people that are learning a little bit more. For those of you that this is kind of new for and you're here to learn more about our business, I want to take a couple minutes and just explain to you how our business works and tell you the different options to start. I was introduced as the president of Prove It. That's a fancy way of saying I've been around long enough and I get to help kind of make some decisions and really helps kind of steer the company, which is great. But I actually started 10 years ago, just like you. My full-time job was a pilot. I was a pilot for Delta Connection. I flew for 11 years. My father was a pilot. I fell in love with flying when I was young and decided I wanted to be a pilot. And I was actually introduced to ketones by a friend who happened to be a flight attendant. So she and her husband were good friends of mine. They invited me to participate. The way that they did it with me is they just texted me and said, Nick, we found it. I said, what did we find? They said, ketones you can drink. This stuff's going to change the world. You have to do this with us. They were very direct. They were very excited. And I was very skeptical and not interested. But they had me watch a video. They got me on a phone call. We didn't really use Zoom back then. So kind of a conference call where you had to learn a little bit more like you. And then they said, well, do you want to do this? And I kind of had this fear of like, well, shoot, if this is real, I don't want to miss it. Right? I was very, very skeptical. I'm like, I might just be wasting my money. But I don't want to come 2 years down the road and they're helping a lot of people building a big business, and I missed it. So what's interesting is here we are 10 years later, ketones still haven't really penetrated the market, although we've done almost $2 billion in sales. We've helped thousands and thousands, in fact, millions of people now experience ketones. And we're now launching something alongside ketones called Protocol, which you just got to hear about, which is equally as exciting. So it's almost like you get to be in that position I was back almost 10 years ago when I got the phone call from my flight attendant friend and her husband. So when I got started, I jumped in, I said yes, right? I got a bunch of product. I bought product that I could drink. And then I figured I'm going to build a business with this. I might as well at least get it for free, get it paid for, and pay for my groceries, maybe my mortgage. That was my initial goal. The goal was to be able to provide more for my family. At the time, I was not actually a high paid pilot. I was a brand new pilot flying the little jets for Delta. And I knew that if I could help enough people, I would have an opportunity to make a little bit of money and create just extra financial freedom, right? An extra $500 a month makes a big difference. So that's where I was at. Now, when I said yes and I got the product, I bought some for me, then I bought some to sample to my friends. And what I mean by that is I'd be at work, i.e., in the cockpit or in the airplane talking to a flight attendant or a pilot. They'd say, what's in your cup? Because I brought my shaker cup to work, right? And a lot of times it was a water bottle that I happened to put some ketones in and shake it. They're like, well, what's in there? I said, oh, ketones. I'd give them one to try because they were curious, and then I'd usually sell them 5 or 10 from my suitcase, right? Because they wanted to try it right away. They wanted to experience it. I'm like, well, here, grab 5 from me or 10 from me. I covered my costs, made a little bit of money on those. And then eventually they're calling me on their days off saying, how do I get more of these? Then they would go to my website. We would order through my website, and then Pruvit would pay me commissions. We have a 3 for free program, which is really cool. So if you refer 3 friends that order on a monthly basis, you actually get your ketones for free. And thousands of people in our community do not pay for their ketones each month because they referred 3 friends, their mom, their dad, their sister, right? As long as they're on a monthly shipment of it, you're getting the equivalent or the average of whatever they get. So really, really cool. So I quickly got free ketones. Then I started to make a little bit of money. Then I started to realize, okay, there's something to this business. If I'm intentional about it, I bet you we can create a community of people drinking ketones and really build an income. And a couple of years after we started, I walked away from flying airplanes. My wife was pregnant when we started and did not go back to work. She just went back to work part-time, eventually walked away from her job. And we've been able to be very present and around with our kids ever since, which has been amazing. So I'm not sure what you're looking for. I'm not sure what you came to this Zoom for, right? Hopefully you've learned a little bit about what we're doing and are excited to be part of it. I will tell you that if you're sitting here thinking, man, I'd love to get this product for free and I'd love it just to feel good, well, we're going to help you do that, right? That's like goal number 1, get your ketones for free, help a few other people, and get your health back. Goal number 2, if you want to go beyond that, is let's help cover the cost of your product. Let's put $500 or $1,000 in your pocket. Let's create a really cool side income stream. And then goal number 3 is, okay, let's create a legitimate part-time, maybe full-time or beyond income with this. And we have a very specific plan to teach you how to share. One of the questions I get quite a bit is, Nick, I don't have a big social media following. I'm not a salesperson. I'm a teacher, or I'm a nurse, or I'm a mom, fill in the blank. The answer to that is you actually don't have to have a following to do this. You don't have to go live on Facebook every day to do this. All you have to do is have desire to better yourself and desire to help others, if you're excited about helping somebody change their life with this product, we can teach you how to have conversations. We have trainings that we do basically a couple times, 2 to 3 times a week that you get to plug into. We have a launch program that's set up to help you really launch your business and get product into people's hands, right? And we're very consistent when it comes to having a place to plug in to learn, and you get to go at your own pace. There's some of you on here that says, hey, I need to build a big business now. I want to make money today. I want to absolutely charge with this. Awesome. We have a path for you. And there might be some of you that say, hey, I want to just take it slow and talk to a couple people and then a couple people. Awesome. We love that too. So I'm going to walk through the different options to get started really quick. And then hopefully at this point, you're going to be excited to join us and hop on our next Zoom, because we actually have a launch training coming up on Saturday to teach you how to invite your friends and how to invite people that you know and care about to learn a little bit more. So we have a really cool thing going on right now called the Next Era Club. And to join the Next Era Club, it's just $1. That's the business cost when you grab some ketones, when you grab one of our promoter packs. So we have 3 different promoter packs for you to choose from. We have the starter, the max, and the mega. And right now, when you grab any of these packs, you're actually going to get our promoter membership for $1. Normally, it says $49 on here. That will discount when you go to the checkout screen, which is super awesome. And through Monday, we have a special where if you get the max or the mega, you're going to get a mystery box of ketones. You're going to get a free box of ketones, one with the max, and then with the mega, you're actually going to get 3 mystery boxes of ketones. So you're getting a ton of value for your dollar. The difference between the 3 packs is the amount of ketones. There's 3 boxes, 6 boxes, or 12. You're essentially getting 25% off with the starter pack. You're getting 30% off with the max pack and 36% off with the mega. And my suggestion to you is, pick the pack that makes the most sense for you, right? You have to pick the pack that you can start with. Obviously, the best value, Nick says, what's the best value? What's the best way to get started? Get the mega pack if you can. That's going to give you the most product to drink yourself at least once a day. For sure, you want to try it twice a day. Get your spouse to drink it too. Okay. And at the same time, you're going to get the extra boxes. So there's tons of value there. Now, we're going to teach you how to utilize that product yourself, but then also how to offer it as trial packs to people around you. Remember, I mentioned my pilot friends, my flight attendant friends. They were usually getting 1 to taste, and then they're getting 5 or 10 from me, and I was covering the cost of that product just through the sales of trials. In fact, most people that work with me, if they sell through 60% of their max or their mega pack, they're covering their cost. Now, just to bring your attention back to it really quick, the starter pack is going to give you enough basically to drink yourself and maybe a couple packs to share, but you're going to be running out pretty quick the moment you sell a couple 10-serving trial packs. So the max pack is really a great option for drinking yourself and sharing. And the mega pack is set for somebody that says, hey, I want to go fast. I've got, a bunch of people that I know are going to love this. I know some different family members are going to want to try it before they buy it. This is going to be a great option. So my recommendation for you guys is get started, right? The only thing that you really have to lose here is $1 because of our Next Era Club. It's literally $1 to start. That's your risk. The product is risk-free. Why? Because you can drink it all. Regardless of if you do anything in the business, just drink the ketones. You're going to be better for it, right? Like Dr. Ryan said, it starts with your brain, your heart, your muscles. It's super powerful. But get back to whoever invited you here and tell them which pack you want to start with. They'll ask you, hey, Nick told you different packs. Which one do you want to start with? Tell them the starter. Tell them the max. Tell them the mega. They'll help you get set up. So, Amy, with that, I'll kick it back to you to close us out. And thanks for having me on.
All right. Thank you so much, Nick. Thank you, Dustin. And thank you, Dr. Lowry, of course. We're so excited you guys joined us tonight. Get back to the person who invited you. Let them know where you fit in, whether that be a customer, whether that be a new promoter in our New Era package, and get all the exciting information coming even more sooner or later with protocol. So guys, have a great night and we'll see you all later. Bye.